to the Crooked Cauldrons YouTube channel. I am, as always, your favorite village witch, here to do another reading for the collective. This time though, we're going to be talking about and doing a reading all about Yuletide, Winter Solstice. There's a lot going on around this time of year, holiday-wise, witch holiday-wise, Sabbath, all kinds of celebrations. So we're going to be talking a little bit about a lot of it, best way to put it. I am doing this, trying out a slightly different format of readings. If you listen to my zodiac readings, I followed a format that way. I'm going to kind of try a couple new things, just the way I read off of my notes. At least it's new to me. I don't know if it'll translate to the video. I will also be trying out slightly different recording gear, so hopefully quality is still good, but we'll find out. I am also going to be reading from a brand new deck, an oracle deck, to be our oh my goodness, words to be our clarifying cards for this reading. These cards are the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck, and then I will be using these adorable, hopefully that lines up right, Yuletide Tales from the Lenormand deck by Faina Laura. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but I will link this deck below where I got it off of her Etsy shop, or their Etsy shop. They're super adorable, but this will be the very first time I'm using them in a reading. The most I've done is give them a little cleanse and introduce myself to them. Here, look at those cards. So we will find out if this deck is interested in working with the collective. So that'll be fun. But again, as always, this is a reading for the collective. If you have found this, even not right around the time I am posting it, there's probably at least one message in here for you. So, you know, take what you want and leave what you don't want. It's always the way of doing things around here. I don't know if it'll show up very much on camera, but I do have quite a bandage on a fresh tattoo right here. If that's distracting anyone or weirding anyone out, that's all it is. So, you know, focus on the reading. Okay, so let me get a little sip of my coffee here real quick. And we will jump right in, since I'll be using my notes today. So we're talking about Yule, also talking about Winter Solstice. Yule is celebrated, the Winter Solstice itself is normally around December 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. We'll be talking mostly about Northern Hemisphere today, while Yule is a 12-day festival of light, rebirth, and community. It originates in Norse, Germanic, and a lot of Celtic traditions. Yuletide honors the rebirth of the sun, cycles of nature, connections to ancestors and different deities. The symbolism, like I said, rebirth of the sun. This winter solstice marks the longest night of the year and the sun's return, which symbolizes hope and renewal. Symbolism of honoring ancestors and deities. Yule kind of bridges the living and spirit realms, kind of a similar idea to Samhain. And this normally refers to rituals inviting blessings from gods and ancestors. It's a huge celebration of nature, typically evergreen plants, and the Yule log symbolizes eternal life and protection. And reflection and community. The Yule festival encourages introspection, connection, and feasting with loved ones. Correspondences, so colors: red, green, gold, silver, and white, and blue. More symbols: the Yule log, sun wheels, candles, holly, mistletoe, and evergreen wreaths. Herbs for Yule are bay, cedar, cinnamon, juniper, sage, and pine. Crystals for Yuletide is garnet, ruby, bloodstone, clear quartz, and green aventurine. Animals, deers, owls, wolves, and bears. If you don't know, bears are one of my favorite animals, so it's a very exciting time. Deities are Odin, Thor, Freya, Balder of the Norse tradition. This next god, I know I'm going to butcher it because it's from Celtic. I'm just gonna say Cailleach. I don't know. Cailleach. So either correct me in the comments or do a little research of your own, because I can never pronounce Celtic words. And in the Wiccan traditions, the sun god or the oak king are celebrated at these times of year. Foods for Yuletide are nuts, dried fruits, spiced cider, mulled wine, hearty meats, and baked goods. Huge baker this time of year myself, so love baking for Yuletide. Some rituals that we can do during this time: lighting of the Yule log. Normally you take a log, traditionally pine, oak, or birch, but really whatever works for you. You decorate it and then you burn it in your fireplace. You can carve wishes or intentions into the wood before you burn it, and you want to keep a piece of the log to light next year's Yule fire. If you check out my Instagram, the.crooked.cauldron, you'll see last year my very first Yule log I ever decorated, and it is I believe I described it accurately as if a Yule log and an ugly sweater had a baby. This is what it would look like. I didn't decorate it in natural decor, so I didn't burn it. Obviously, it's a lot of like ribbons and bows and that kind of thing, but I think it's cute, and I'm gonna put it up again this year, probably the next couple of days. So, you can use that as a guide if you want. I believe I also have a video of me decorating it on the channel, so you can find that as well. You can again decorate with evergreens. Typically use holly, ivy, pine to create wreaths or garlands, which symbolizes protection and eternal life. Candle magic is here. I have my candle burning here. You can light candles that are in the Yule colors, red, green, white, or gold, blue, to honor the sun's rebirth. And you'd want to meditate on the light as a symbol of hope and new beginnings. As of right now, the Crooked Cauldron doesn't have a proper Yuletide candle for burning. That is in the works though. But any Crooked Cauldron candle can be used as a Yuletide candle if you so wish. So you want to check that out too. Feasting and sharing. You can host a communal meal with seasonal dishes like roasted meats, mulled wine, baked goods, share stories and gratitude for the year's blessings, aka throw a party. Christmas party, Yule party, Winter Solstice party. All those are great to do this time of year. As most of you probably already know, gift giving is huge this time of year for Yuletide. You can exchange handmade or meaningful gifts to honor connections and prosperity. That is the more traditional way of doing it, more handmade gifts, but you certainly don't have to. Divination and reflection using tarot. Tarot runes are scrying to seek guidance for the coming year, which we will be doing. You want to reflect on the past year and set intentions for that renewal. And outdoor offerings. You can create a nature altar with food and herbal offerings for animals or spirits, deities. My husband and I actually plan on doing that pretty soon for Hecate, the goddess Hecate, even though she's not a traditional Yuletide necessarily. She's more like Samhain, like a representation goddess, but doesn't have to be a pure Yuletide deity if you don't want to, whatever works for you, if you do any kind of deity work. So really, Yule provides a sacred opportunity to honor nature, reflect on personal growth, and celebrate community. It blends ancient traditions with modern practices, making it really adaptable for any spiritual path. You don't have to be identified as a witch or a pagan to celebrate this. Again, as most of us probably know, Christmas is a Christianization of Yuletide, not to carefully bring religion into this, but, you know, bear with me. I think that's why there's so much overlap in spiritual practices, and this time of year, really any walks of life can celebrate if you so choose. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this time of year. So there are I'm not going to go into too much detail. My notes have more detail, but there's a lot of traditions that surround different civilizations, different cultures around the winter solstice. A couple examples: Saturnalia was celebrated in ancient Rome, which is a week-long festival which honored Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. It's you know, Yule really stemmed from Norse traditions, as we talked about. The Norse celebrated Yule with large logs burning for up to 12 days, feasts and symbols of fertility. In China, some of these I'm not going to even try to pronounce. China, there's a solstice celebration that focused on family gatherings, traditional foods like rice balls symbolizing unity and good fortune. In Iran, there's an ancient I don't know why I put these big words in my notes if I'm too afraid to say them. There's an ancient festival that celebrates the victory of light over darkness. Typically families gather, read poetry, share food, and await the sunrise, which symbolizes the triumph of the sun god Mithra. The Inca Empire in Peru, the winter solstice, which is in the southern hemisphere, so it was in June, was marked by fasting, offering to the sun, and ceremonial sacrifices. And in Scandinavia, there was St. Lucia's Day, festival which honored St. Lucia with rituals that kind of blend Christian and Norse solstice traditions, which included wearing candles, lighting fires to ward off spirits during the darkest night. And let's see, what else do I have? As you may or may not know, I am a huge fan of monsters and cryptids and a lot of that kind of mythology. So we have some classic Yule season monsters to go over. So we have the Wild Hunt, which originated in Norse and Germanic folklore, which is a ghostly procession led by Odin, and it features phantom riders, horses, and hounds sweeping across the sky during winter storms. Witnessing the Wild Hunt was considered an omen of misfortune or death, adding an eerie aspect to the Yuletide season. And then we have Gryla and the Yule Lads, which is Icelandic folklore, which introduces Gryla as a terrifying giantess who hunts for naughty children to eat during Yule. Her sons, the Yule Lads, are mischievous pranksters who visit homes during the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. Some of the lads were known to bring small gifts for well-behaved children, while others caused chaos. We have Krampus, which was a counterpart to St. Nicholas in Central European folklore. Krampus is a horned, demonic creature who punishes misbehaving children. Associated with pre-Christian traditions, he carries chains and a bundle of birch sticks to frighten or discipline the wicked during midwinter festivals. And let's see. And we have, again, this is Welsh, so I'm not gonna pronounce it right. I'm gonna call it Mary Lwyd, which is a Welsh tradition, features a skeletal horse, the Mary Lwyd, skeletal horse draped in white. Groups carrying the figure go door to door during the season, engaging in a ritual of rhymed challenges. Though not necessarily monstrous, its ghostly appearance is unique and eerie symbol of the winter solstice. So that's just a couple of long things of the Yule tradition, Yule history, origins, all that. Need to take a sip of coffee after all that. So, with all of that in mind, we're going to get to this reading. So, I'm going to go ahead and flip these cards over and we'll see what is going on. So our first card is the 10 of Needles. And then we have the 9 of Presents, the 6 of Potions, we have 5 of Needles in reverse, and the 6 of Needles in reverse. Interesting. And then we have a 10 of Candles in reverse. Okay. So this Yule season for the collective, I think it's a time that we acknowledge our defeats this year and our what we would consider our failures for this past year. Yeah, we need to acknowledge where we've been this year. We need to acknowledge the hardships. We need to acknowledge the hurt this year in order for us to continue to move forward. I'm also trying to figure out if I want to. Let's go ahead and do one of these now to clarify. So let's get a clarification for this 10 of Needles, please. Let's do this one. All right, so we have Bouquet. We'll go ahead and read Bouquet. Okay. So Bouquet, reward, pleasure, flattery, a gesture of gratitude, a moment of joy, and an indication of delightful interactions to come. Flowers symbolize death and rebirth to the ancient druids. Although the delicate foliage of flowers faded in the winter, it would come back to life during the warmer months. Okay, yeah, I think I'm really feeling the energy of we need to know where we've been in order to get to where we're going. And we need to acknowledge that. We don't want to just throw away or hide behind our failures. This Yuletide season, we want to really begin that process of that reflection and that acknowledgement of just what didn't maybe feel good this year. Of course, it's good to acknowledge the good stuff too, but I think right now there's a lot that we need to acknowledge that didn't feel so good. And from that, we get to learn. We don't have to dwell on it, but we get to learn. So with that in mind, so we also have this 9 of Presents. So with this 9 of Presents, oh, okay, so here we go. We really want to heal what we've been through in our hardships, and this really does represent the good that's also happened this year. And we want to take that inspiration from the good and from the bad to drive us forward. Use that as inspiration. Use that as fuel to keep going. Let's see. I want to do another one. Let's get a clarification for this 9 of Presents, please, please, please. We have Rider, which is number 1. All right. Delays are over and exciting events are about to take place. Anticipate a burst of newfound energy. According to Italian lore, La Befana is a witch who visits all children on Epiphany Eve to fill their stockings with treats if they have been good, or cool if they have been naughty. we have energy, arrival, and action. Yeah, so I think what we're really talking about here is that we have to reflect in order for that rebirth to be kind of sparked, but then take that as inspiration to move forward. And that's what's really been holding us back, I think, is, you know, because now we have the Rider, which is all about forward movement. And I'm feeling like manifestation. So don't be afraid to look back on what was hard. Maybe I'm here, like, make a list of what sucked this 2024, or, you know, if you're hearing this in another year, whatever sucked this past year or what sucked lately. Make a list, but then reframe that, right? Reframe it to what good came out of it, what like hard work came out of it, even what you can accomplish from that. You know, 9 of Presents talks about almost like an inheritance or a legacy. Like, how can you take what you inherited this year and make it good? How does that become your legacy? How do you take that and run with it with this Rider, right? So moving right along. So the 6 of Potions, I think remembering the things that make you happy, the thing that makes us happy, things that spark nostalgia, things that spark that joy of like an inner child. Those are the things that will really guide you forward, guide us forward, the collective. So if we're, you know, healing the bad stuff and using that as fuel, right? What's going to keep us then going, right, is really tapping into that inner child joy, that nostalgic joy. One of the reasons why I do love this time of year so much is because it sparks a really happy nostalgia for me, and I get to really indulge my inner child, whether it's through celebrating, through decorating, through eating, you know, like these are the things that my inner child loves personally. So like, what is it that your inner child wants to do during Yuletide, right? Like, or what does your inner child want to do with this new year coming up? So we get to use that as the fuel to like keep us moving forward, to acknowledge the sucky part. I was trying to figure out a word to use that wouldn't make YouTube mad. Acknowledge the bad and kind of turn that around to take us into the good, so that, and you know, powered by this like inner child joy, right? Hopefully that makes sense, but we're gonna get some clarification as well. So let's get a clarifying card for this 6 of Potions, please. Whoop, 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 here come flying out. Ooh, the Scythe, interesting. Okay. Scythe. All right, Scythe. Danger, warning, reckoning. A sudden end means that it is time to move on and to learn a lesson from what happened. Kronos, a Greek god, is personified as Father Time. He appears as an old man holding a sickle. At the new year, Kronos hands over his duties of time to Dionysus. Okay. So, again, we're talking about an ending here, which is all about Yuletide, which is all about this wrapping up of the year. And, I mean, this card literally just explained what I just took however many minutes to explain. A sudden end means it is time to move on and to learn a lesson from what happened. You learn the lesson, or you identify the lesson, you learn the lesson, and this is going to help move you forward. You take that joy from it, right? You take whatever joy you can muster up, even if it's the tiniest little thing, and you use that to move forward. I I'm not hearing any kind of like I said, danger or warning. But I think it's just, you know, prepare yourself for this Ten of Needles energy. It's not easy, it's not hard, so go easy on yourself, you know. Even though we're talking about kind of this wrapping up of the year, there's no real rush. Like, you don't have to do all of this before the year ends, right? This is just what we want to do with the energy of this ending, right? We want to take this energy and use it to put an end to like what we need to. There's no like huge rush or, you know, anything like that. So yeah, let's see, let's move forward then. So we have these two both came out at the same time, so I'm going to kind of probably read it as a clarification a little bit, but we'll still get one of these Yule tales to clarify as well. So we have the 5 of Needles in reverse and the 6 of Needles in reverse. Let's see, what card I'm on. So we have a lot of things at our disposal, right, to provide support. During this, we really need to figure out the best way to support ourselves to keep us going. And really, this isn't the first hardship that we've been through, right? Like, we know what it's like to be tested. We know what it's like to have hard times. So you've survived once, twice, 3 times, however many times before. We're gonna survive again. You know what it feels like to be stuck. You know what it feels like to, as I said, experience hardship. And you know you've experienced the light at the end of the tunnel, right? You've experienced that in terms of Yuletide. You've experienced that rebirth, right? You've experienced that darkness, and then you've experienced the light coming back. So whatever sticky situations you have going on now, whatever kind of revisiting you need to do, just know that you don't have to get stuck there. You know, remember that you're always capable of moving forward because you have before. Seems like a pretty self-explanatory, or, you know, I would say short and sweet message for that position, but we're still gonna get Yuletide cards. So let's clarify these 5 and 6 of Needles cards, please. So far, I'm really enjoying this deck. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna take Tree. Nope, and just below that we do have the Sun card pop up. So, you know, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. These are all flipped around now. There we go. Okay. Okay, so Tree. Here's my little book. I keep placing it down. So Tree, wisdom, spirituality, and growth. The current moment is grounded in what came before. It is time to look into the past. Evergreen trees were seen by ancient Druids as symbols of eternal life. These trees stayed green during the cold winter and represented hope for the sun's return. So you see, you want to use that wisdom, right? Use that wisdom of, you've been through hardship before and you've survived it. You are like this evergreen tree. Like, no matter what season it is, no matter how cold or desolate it is, you're still you. You're still capable of moving through that hardship. So I think like this 6 of Potions and especially this Tree card here are like use that childlike joy, use that wisdom to wrap up just all this stuff that needs to get wrapped up. You know, no pun intended with the presents here. But you know, it's time to look to the past. You know, that's what this ten of needles is talking about in this bouquet. Look to the past, right? And because you can be grounded and wise, right? And look to the past to know you don't have to live there, you don't have to get stuck there, and reframe it with the joy of a child to then move forward, right? Hopefully this is all making sense. But you know, we'll see. All right, let's move on. And we have this 10 of candles in reverse, so that's fun. So we really want to talk about what we want to focus on in order to nurture growth and renewal, right? It's funny because you typically hear of like you want to focus on, if any of you are familiar with like law of attraction stuff, manifestation stuff, typically you're always told like you want to focus on the good and not the bad, but like I'm hearing like you kind of want to focus on the bad. I think it's just kind of trying to reiterate the bad stuff that needs to be acknowledged in order for the good stuff to come in. Like you got to get through what you need to get through in order to get to the good. And again, you don't want to live there. You don't want to live in the bad, right? But you have to experience it. You have to acknowledge it. You have to let it, you have to learn from it, right? So this might be just all completely like repeating myself, but that's just really what I'm hearing. I really want a clarification card for this one. This one's feels a little tricky, right? So let's clarify this 10 of candles in reverse. All right. And we have clouds. It's a cute card. So let's look at this book and see if we can figure out what we're doing here. All right, clouds, doubt, confusion, and secrets. Lack of clarity is the cause of doubt and misunderstanding. Lift the veil of confusion to see the truth. Germanic lore mentions Frau Holly. Her home is hidden in the clouds, and when her bedding is given a good shake so that the feathers fly, it will snow in the world below. Right after that, I just heard, gotta shake it up a bit. Gotta shake out the cobwebs, right? Gotta shake out I'm trying to think of like what that phrase is. Like, you know, you gotta shake out the bats or the rats or something in order to get to the good, right? You know, her bed got a good shake, and the feathers flew everywhere, and as a result, it snowed around the world, right? So what do we want to nurture in order to bring growth and renewal? I'm just hearing focus on the bad so you can get to the good. Maybe you do feel like you're keeping secrets. Maybe you do feel a lot of doubt and confusion right now. I think you need to explore that. You need to explore the bad. You know, a lot of times these darker times of the year are great for shadow work. We haven't talked too much about shadow work in this reading, but you know, that could really be a huge thing right now. Let's take a look at what do we have under the deck. We have Mountain, which I'll read in a second, and I kind of want to see the ooh, and we have the, see if that, I'm not sure if that'll focus correctly, but 5 of Potions in reverse. So with that in mind, let me look at the Mountain just really quick, and we'll kind of try to wrap all this up so it makes sense for everyone. Mountain. Obstacles, delays, challenges. Beware of obstacles, but remember that delays can bring opportunities and challenges strengthen the soul. Icelandic folklore depicts Gryla, right? I talked about her. Icelandic folklore depicts Gryla as a mountain troll who comes into town during Christmas. She has an appetite for the flesh of naughty children, who she cooks in a large pot. Okay, so that's great. So I think this one part where remember that delays can bring opportunities and challenges strengthen the soul, and that in partnering with this 5 of Potions in reverse, yeah, you gotta acknowledge the bad. I'm wondering if like universe or spirit isn't really giving me much else because it's just as simple as that. Like I wish I had a little bit more to give, but I mean it really can be as simple as that, right? So let's do this, right? What we want to do is we want to illuminate, therefore heal the not so fun parts of this year, right? We want to focus on what didn't go right, but we want to do that in order to use that as an inspiration. You want to use the bad in order to reframe it into a better way of looking at it, into growth and inspiration to move forward. And you want to also make sure you're remembering that inner child joy, right, is important fuel for this, you know, because you also don't want to get stuck there. You want to make sure you're not getting stuck there, but remember that, you know, you've been in not so great situations before, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Sorry, I'm starting to mumble now. Because you gotta shake all this stuff out, right? You gotta shake all this stuff out in order to get to the good, in order to then grow, in order for this rebirth to happen, right? As like the year is coming to the close, as we're getting to those darker months, you want to kind of shine a light on the dark stuff or the not fun stuff that happened this year, but not to live there, right? Not to get stuck there. And to do that, you can just remember that childlike wonderment behind it, right? You're not there to get stuck in the bad, but you want to look at it with a child's curiosity, really. And that's really just how we're gonna grow. You know, you want to bring about the not so fun, or, you know, revisit the not so fun in order to get to the good. And you can remember like your accomplishments too. Like you can remember the bad, remember your accomplishments, and allow that to be a driving force. Ooh, this was maybe a touch heavier than I was bargaining for, but you know, This is what the dark times of the year is for, you know. Yuletide is all about that fun and lightheartedness, but it's also a time for deep reflection, because you don't want to take all this stuff, into the new year, you know, into where the sun does return, where the light does return. You know, we're in the dark right now, so like we gotta make the most of it, but we can still have fun, you know. We're not getting stuck. We're not self-identifying only by the hardship. You know, we know that we have good, that we have accomplishments. You know, we do have satisfaction in our lives. Well, I think I want to like end it on like a slightly better note than this, but like I don't really have anything else from Spirit coming in. But let me see. Let's see. We'll take this guy out. Let's do. Oh, you know what? Just took the bottom of the deck pile out. Was gonna pull another card for kind of final messages, and what comes out is the Sun. Now, this was the only, right? Yes, the only major arcana card to come out. The Sun is returning in our lives. We kind of just have to experience our experience. But I'm taking this as our final message. I hope you are too. The sun is coming out, and you know, got to get through the bad to get through the good. Got to get through the dark to get to the light. And now, with that, I believe I will end the reading here. Thank you for listening for as long as you did. If you made it to the end, that's great. Feel free to tell me in the comments what resonated with you, what didn't resonate with you. The Crooked Cauldron Etsy shop is now open, which is super exciting. I will have that linked down below and just on the channel as well. But please like, share, comment, and please subscribe. It helps me grow my channel and my business. So those are all the little technical tidbits I have, and I wish you a super happy Yuletide, whatever holidays you do or don't celebrate, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.